All right, Mr. Taliaferro, everybody doing out there? Look, say what you want about the New Orleans Pelicans. They're doing their best to keep this nucleus together. The New Orleans Pelicans like the thought of pairing Jrue Holiday up with Zion Williamson and Anthony Davis. They like it, but the big problem, obviously, literally and figuratively, is Anthony Davis wants out, and reportedly his position has not changed. I know the Pelicans got the number 1 pick a couple weeks ago in the lottery, but Anthony Davis still wants out. He has not changed his position. He wants out of New Orleans. Now, to give you a little bit of a breakdown on why guys like Anthony Davis have not made it work in a city like New Orleans, let me just explain it to you. So, the New Orleans Pelicans are ran by the same ownership group that runs the New Orleans Saints, right? They're brothers team, I guess you can call it that. The owners are more invested to the Saints than they are the Pelicans. Obviously, these are real people with real money and real obligations. So the bulk of their resources, from what I've been told, go into the Saints more than they do the Pelicans. With that comes frustration. A guy like Anthony Davis, like, yo, y'all focus on trying to get a championship in the NFL to get to the Super Bowl with Drew Brees. I'm here right now. And I mean more to my team than Drew Brees does at this point in time. All right? I'm just telling y'all what Anthony Davis is probably thinking. And he feels as if though this ownership group in New Orleans is too busy, focused on the Saints, and you're wasting him entering his prime. He's probably about to enter his prime like right now. So he wants out. He's not happy with the roster. He was not happy about losing DeMarcus Cousins. Remember, to get DeMarcus Cousins, they had to trade their pick, which was Buddy Hield. They had Buddy Hield. They gave up on him, after a year or two? And you traded for DeMarcus Cousins and you gave up on him. Damn. So you don't got DeMarcus Cousins. Now you're trying to put together this half-ass roster. You go get Julius Randle, who I like, but you can understand why Anthony Davis would, if he liked DeMarcus Cousins, you can understand why the star would be upset if he didn't get what he wanted. So now you got Alvin Gentry trying to kind of massage this ego of Anthony Davis, and it didn't work. But now you bring in David Griffin, the former GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who was hired to the Pelicans for the same position. Now, David Griffin is a smart GM, and we were able to get to know David Griffin a little better because he did work for NBA TV the last year or so. So we've been able to get to know David Griffin. Smart GM, knows what the hell he's doing. He wants to keep Anthony Davis, and he is trying to sell Anthony Davis on him, Zion, and Jrue Holiday. He's literally asking Anthony Davis what he wants done. Now, what he won't do is trade Zion. That's not a part of the plans. So, like, let's say Anthony Davis was like, you want to keep me in New Orleans? Go trade the number 1 pick for a star, right? So we can win tomorrow. That's not going to happen. David Griffin, what I've heard, does not have the authorization to trade the number 1 pick. He didn't have that blessing from the ownership, right? And I get it. Zion is a big sale. You understand why. That's a long-term thing with Zion. He's going to put butts in seats just because he's that damn good and there's so much hype around his name. So if Anthony Davis can't get that, and I'm not saying this is what he said, I'm just throwing this out there, there is no way that Anthony Davis could get that number 1 pick traded if that would keep him there. I think that would probably be the only way you keep him there is you go get him a star this summer, superstar. If that ain't happening, he still wants out. But the Pelicans are trying like hell, and give them credit. After they got that number 1 pick, they could shrug their shoulders a little bit, stroke their ego a little bit. Finally, something good happened to the Pelicans. And they're like, yeah, we might lose Anthony Davis, but we got a little bit something to play with, all right? We're going to show our balls a little bit, all right? No pun intended, but that's probably how they're feeling right now. But they would love to keep Anthony Davis with that young nucleus that they have there with Holiday. And we'll see what they do with Randle. Randle's probably going to be gone. Obviously, Julius Randle with Zion doesn't make a lot of sense. Zion is probably an upgraded Julius Randle. But you could sign and trade Julius Randle. Julius Randle's going to want to get paid this summer. You could sign and trade Julius Randle. And that way Randle gets the most money that he can get. Obviously, the Pelicans own his rights. And then, heck, maybe trade him to a team that's willing to give you something for Julius Randle. We'll see. I doubt their future with the Pelicans lies with Anthony Davis. I just don't think they're going to convince him otherwise. And I think at some point this summer, they're going to have to trade him. They cannot take this thing into the season. I know a lot of people are like, just trade him at the deadline. There are not a lot of teams, and we don't know, we're just predicting here, how many teams will be at the point where they could just trade for Anthony Davis for a playoff run, right? We don't know what's going to happen next year. Maybe the Lakers are in a good spot and they're trying to go for the juggler and get Anthony Davis at the trade deadline in February of next year in 2020. Maybe the Celtics are in win now mode and maybe they convince Kyrie to stay. Who knows what'll happen, right? I just don't think it's feasible to believe that Anthony Davis is going to be in that. If the Pelicans are smart, you got to trade him this summer. You cannot hold on to him until February. If he's already non-committal on re-signing with a team, what makes you think in February he's going to commit to a team not named New York or LA, right? He's held out that long. He's just going to play that thing out. Hell, he probably won't commit to the Lakers or the Knicks at the time. He's going to want to test free agency if it gets to next February. So we'll see what happens. I think the Pelicans still have to trade Anthony Davis this summer. What do you think is going to happen with old Anthony Davis? Do the Pelicans trade him this summer? Or do they try to force him to give it a go with Zion and Drew Holiday? What y'all think in the comment box below?
I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
Got the kids, they
You are now tuned in.
Yeah, we locked in right now, Mr.
Mr. Taliaferro.
Mr. Taliaferro.
Shout out to Mr. Taliaferro.
You watching Mr.Taliaferro TV.
Mr. Taliaferro TV. Here with the triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.